So for Jacques, this here is a pretty nice trot. We'll splice in some video of Jacques trotting with a dressage saddle and a dressage bridle. Let me know what you see is different, if you see any difference at all. Hello, this video is all about different saddle types. So let me know in the comments which type of saddle you ride in. I'm going to go through some of the pros and cons of different saddle types. Today we're going to look at a dressage saddle, then I'm going to attempt to ride in my Western saddle, and then we're going to ride in a jumping / all-purpose saddle. And bottom line is, ride in the saddle that you have. I think that's the most important thing, but it's also interesting to look at how the saddles are designed differently, how they make you feel a little bit different in the saddle, and understand the pros and cons of each type of saddle. Bottom line, in my programs, I welcome riders in all different types of saddles, so I don't really think that it necessarily matters the type of saddle. Most important thing is that you're comfortable, that your horse is comfortable, but then also know that there is a reason for different styles of saddles and different types of saddles. And so my goal for this video is to explain a little bit more about that. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Amelia. I'm a Grand Prix dressage rider and trainer, but I have also done quite a bit of Western riding and a little bit of jumping. So to start off with, this is a dressage saddle. This is Mercurio, who is the best dressage horse. What you will notice about the dressage saddle is that it's really designed to have a deep seat and for you to sit into the saddle, because in dressage we really want to have ear, shoulder, hip, heel alignment, and we want our seat to be really connected into our horse's back so that we can follow the movement and also help to get our horse to sit and collect. Other things you'll notice is that my legs are quite long in a dressage saddle. So in a dressage saddle, your upper thigh should be about a 45-degree angle to the ground, and your stirrups are quite long as compared to a jumping saddle. Again, these longer stirrups really help for you to be able to sit deeper into the saddle. So what I'm going to do with each of these saddles, we're starting with the dressage saddle, is I'm going to ride the Snowman exercise, because the Snowman is like one of my favorite exercises. I'll link out to the Snowman if you don't know what the Snowman is, but I'm just going to kind of talk you through what I'm feeling. Of course, I feel the most comfortable in a dressage saddle. I feel like I can really sit in, and I'm comfortable sitting the trot, and my seat's connected, and I can make little adjustments, and I can give the rein, and then I'm going to change the bend and ask for the canter. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, sit in, heels down, toes forward. So you can see how in the dressage saddle, it's really pretty natural for me to sit connected. And then of course, this is also the saddle that I'm used to riding Mercurio in, and that he's used to feeling. And so that's going to feel, I think, that's going to be the saddle that we're most comfortable in. But I'm also excited to try out the Western and the jump saddle. So we are going to switch saddles, and next time you see me, I'm going to be in my Western saddle, which, good story, I actually got this Western saddle as my graduation present when I graduated from high school, and I start all my young horses in a Western saddle. Saddle number 2 is a Western saddle. Let me know in the comments if you ride in a Western saddle. So first of all, the advantages of a Western saddle. I start all my babies in Western saddles. I like that they spread out your weight a little bit more. I also like that there's a lot more to hold on to. So in my Western saddle, it's called a night latch. It's like this little leather thing. So a lot of times on a young horse, I'll put my hand on the night latch, and I'll even, you can hold the reins and your night latch at the same time. But this way, if your horse goes to jump around, you can just pull your butt into the saddle and not have to pull on your horse, or you can put your hand under the front of the saddle. I like these big stirrups. I definitely, if I was going to go out on a trail ride and ride all day, I feel more comfortable in a Western saddle. the biggest difference is my leg position. So in a Western saddle, your leg position is a lot looser. And you can see how I have kind of a, like more that my knee is coming out of the saddle. I don't have those thigh blocks and kind of that positioning to really keep my upper thigh engaged, which you'll see when I do the Snowman. It's a little harder for me to sit the trot in the Western saddle. The other advantage of this Western saddle is obviously it has a horn on it. So I used to, believe it or not, I used to rope cattle, and then you would dally your rope around the horn here so that you could control and stop the cow. So that's another big advantage of these Western saddles. I put them on my young horses because there's more to kind of flop around, so it gets the horse used to like the stirrups moving around and things banging on their back. And then of course the purpose of the breastplate is it just helps to keep the saddle straight so the saddle can't go all the way under your horse's belly, which is a very bad thing. So I'm going to try to ride the Snowman in the Western saddle. I think I've only ridden Mercurio like one time before in a Western saddle. And so just know that if you switch saddles, it's going to feel different for you. And it's also going to feel a lot different for your horse as well. So you just want to make sure, oh my gosh, he feels bouncier in a Western saddle. But you just want to make sure that you know, take your time to get yourself more used to the different saddle, and also that you give your horse a little bit of time. Good boy, because your aids might feel a little different, like your seat feels different. Okay, I definitely feel in the canter like looser, like I can kind of feel my hips swinging. I don't know how I look different. You can let me know how I look different. My legs feel sloppier. I'm having more trouble with really keeping my leg position, and I have a looser lower leg. But that kind of makes sense, because if you think about a Western saddle, like this would be the saddle that I'd ride in if I was going to go and move cattle all day from one pasture to the next, or if I'm on a young horse and I just want to make sure that I'm going to have something to hold on to. It's definitely easier to post the trot than it is to sit the trot in a Western saddle, because the dressage saddle is designed in such a way that it absorbs the shock. In the dressage saddle, we have wool flocking that kind of absorbs some of the shock, and then this saddle doesn't have it. I will say it's kind of hard, the seat in this saddle, so I might want to put one of those like fuzzy things. But like I mentioned, when I started out riding dressage, and then I rode Western for a long time, and I started a lot of colts and problem horses and young horses, and I always liked my Western saddle because it gave me more to hang on to. But I think if you really want to ride dressage and you're ready to do a lot of sitting trot, then I would probably recommend riding in the dressage saddle. So let's switch to the jump saddle and see how that goes. Outfit number 3, here we are in a all-purpose / jumping saddle. I'm not real up on my saddles, but this saddle is more designed for jumping. And the first thing that you notice is obviously my stirrups are quite a bit shorter, and I'm a bit more folded up as compared to the dressage saddle or even the Western saddle where my leg could hang longer. And I really feel like because my leg is more folded up and because the seat isn't quite as deep, it wants me to be a little bit more forward, like so, to keep myself balanced. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because if you're going to go over a big jump, you need to be able to get up out of the tack in 2 points so that you can let your horse come over the jump. But as we'll see when I do my Snowman, it's definitely more work to stay back and sitting in. So I'm going to do my best to stay in my dressage seat, even though I'm in a totally different saddle. I also feel like my legs aren't quite as supported. And I will say that when you ride in a jump saddle, it requires like totally different muscles that I'm not used to using compared to in a dressage saddle. Okay, so here we are. I will say though, what I like about this saddle is I feel more like close contact. I feel like my center of gravity is lower to him. I felt in the jump saddle like I was really sitting above him, and this I feel like I'm a little more sitting in. Okay, not bad. I know all you jump riders are probably making fun of me. My stirrups are not nearly short enough, even though they feel quite short. But definitely, like, if I was gonna practice my 2-point, right, which he's not super used to, but if I was gonna practice a little 2-point, or if I wanted to be able to get a little more out of the tack, then this saddle makes it so much easier for me to do that. But you also see how I can sit back and in, I can sit the trot, I can ride in more of a dressage position. It's just not as easy as when I'm in my dressage saddle. Like, I don't feel quite as connected to him. I feel like my center of gravity is a little bit higher. So don't forget to comment and let me know which saddle you ride in. But I think that it's cool to be able to ride in different saddles because it tests your balance, it tests different muscles, and then it's also great to ride different disciplines, because I learned a lot from riding Western and riding cows. I really learned how to get my horses like hotter and more reactive. I've learned a lot from dressage, and I think bottom line is good riding is good riding. It doesn't really matter what saddle you ride in or what breed your horse is. I think we all just want to have that connection and that partnership with our horses. So if you need more help, check out the description box. I have a free PDF with 10 terms every rider should know. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. I had fun. I don't know if Mercurio had fun, but it's always fun to try different things and just kind of notice the difference in our horses and in our position depending on what saddle we are in.